What up, everybody? I'm your host, JP. This is my co-host, Josh.
Hey, everyone.
And welcome back to another episode of the FilmBros podcast. What up, everybody? We back to bring you guys some topics, some pretty interesting stuff that's been happening. Like I said on our last episode, there's so much things happening. It was like a dry spell the first couple of days, but now it's just banger. There's just so much stuff happening. We're going to go ahead and just dive right into it.
Wait, but before we get into the news, let's hear a word from our sponsor.
Today's episode is sponsored by ZippyStream. If you are wondering how we make money to run our podcast, it's all because of this innovative platform. Here at FilmBros Podcast, we absolutely love using ZippyStream. It's the easiest way to convert listeners into an email list, but best of all, they find us sponsorship so we can keep making money doing what we love.
Suppose you're also a podcaster thinking about starting one. ZippyStream will help you find and manage a relationship with brands that are relevant to your audience. If you want to learn more, contact us as soon as possible. Everyone that signs up this month will get to claim £10 as a joining bonus, which is around $12 or something like that.
Just reach out to us by email or social media DMs, and I'll put you in touch with the guys at ZippyStream right away. Now back to the pod. There's a lot of funny things on the internet nowadays. One funny thing that I wanted to bring up, because we just came through the state of play, and it's funny because they're saying that the Suicide Squad that killed the Justice League is connected to the Arkham games.
Yeah, the Arkhamverse.
But that it is set 5 years after the final title, Arkham Knight, The Dark Knight Rises, right? Arkham Knight, right? Batman Arkham Knight. I forgot. Why am I drawing a blank? I play that game. Arkham Knight. But at the end of that one, you see Batman not being Batman, right? The protocol that happens, the Ghost Fall or whatever it's called. Nightfall. See, you know more of this. You should probably be talking about this. But so we got in the state of play, and we got a couple answers that apparently it is set 5 years after, and that there won't be any direct links per se when it comes to like, I guess, physically, like seeing the Justice League interact with that Batman from the Arkhamverse. None of that stuff.
Yeah.
But that narratively speaking, that there might be little Easter eggs here and there that point to that series, the Arkham series.
Okay.
So I guess it's a loose connection, but it's not very a concrete one. Because, like, at the end, like I said, if Kevin Conroy's coming back as Batman for this one, and Batman is thriving with the Justice League on this one, that means the events of Arkham Knight shouldn't be real, right?
Well, if you can't remember, Bruce Wayne dies, quote unquote. Bruce Wayne is dead, and he decides that for Gotham to be taken seriously and the whole thing, he has to be something more than the Batman. And then you get that Nightmare Batman. So I know we didn't get answers to that. We should have. There should have been a follow-up game or something like that. Continuing it. I know there was talks before Gotham Knights came out.
Yeah.
There should have been something. People were speculating that it was just Batman, but with the fear toxin trying to be that supernatural thing instead of a man, for people to still feel that fear.
Yeah.
So assuming that enough time has passed, then they'll be like, okay, well, Batman isn't. He's back into the light, but maybe not as much. So him working with the League is just, people can speculate that it's someone else or whatever, not Bruce Wayne.
Oh, got you. Yeah.
Because they revealed to the world that it was Bruce Wayne at the end of the game. Also, that's why he did what he did with the protocol and stuff. So
he sounds oddly the same, like the old Batman.
Yeah, no, it is interesting because we're gonna have to wait for that, and I know they probably won't give answers anyway, but you gotta think, like, what I hope they address it at some point, and not like Easter eggs are cool, but you're saying that you expect us to believe that these people don't believe that Batman is this Batman, because think about it. Last time we saw Harley, she was locked up in a cage in the movie studios after Scarecrow and everything.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
then
Okay. Yeah.
we never heard of Boomerang, and then I guess they confirmed that the Deadshot we saw in the previous games wasn't the real Deadshot, and this is the real one.
Oh damn, they were saying all that?
Yeah, it was way back when, because they were like, one of them was, because this one is clearly designed differently, while the other one looked a bit more Mexican. What do you call it? I think they said somewhere that this Deadshot in the game is the real one, and the one that was in Arkham City, and then in Origins is someone completely different, so like an imposter, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh yeah, we know that out of Easter eggs from Arkham Knight that the Justice League characters do exist. Like they name drop Superman and the Flash and all that. We know Green Arrow exists. So I mean, they started world building in Arkham Knight, but then they didn't do anything to follow that up. So yeah, it's probably a loose connection. So they won't be addressing it fully, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, little things here and there, like connecting it, I guess, with dialogue should be more than sufficient.
Yeah.
I like I said, a loose one would fit, but like if there's any like concrete, like if they show something concrete from that universe, it'll make big plot holes, and a lot of people will be digging on, like really dig into this shit, and that's something that I don't think this game wants to go through, especially right now, because I was hearing a lot of people now. I don't know if this is just that fucking hate train that people like to go on or whatever, but I was hearing that supposedly not a lot of people are liking this game after that little reveal from State of Play, because I guess Boomerang's rocking guns, and apparently to a DC fan, nobody should be using guns, heroes or villains. Apparently that's a big deal. But okay, I kind of understand that he's not using his signature boomerangs, whatever. I'm sure there's a special move that uses boomerangs, but for regular stuff, I'm sure it's guns. And then, we have some people saying that, the Flash, that he's acting more like Bart or Wally instead of acting like Barry, like he's supposed to, which I don't believe, because there is a clip that of him trying to kill the Suicide Squad, and then Wonder Woman stops him. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah.
Where he kind of gives off some dialogue that's not under Brainiac's control, and it kind of sounded solid. I'm one of those people that if the story looks good, I can get past some of the gameplay, as long as the gameplay is not too, it's not too repeat offendery. You get me? And it just happens over and over. I could get through the story. That's fine. And if the story's good, I'll take it. But I don't know. You're more into the Arkham Knight games, and you're more into DC, I would say, than I am per se. Does this game kind of worry you, seeing the gameplay, hearing the story, and what other people are saying out there?
Not really. It doesn't worry me. What's the best way to word it? It doesn't worry me. I know I can say that for sure. Like, I just want to know, where is the story gonna go, because this is the second time we've seen Brainiac in a game, pretty much. The first time was Injustice 2, or whatever you want to call it.
I remember that one.
And then people, like, I don't know what the obsession is with Brainiac. Like, I think he's an okay villain to me. Like, I don't think he's like this big up there kind of dude, but I mean, he's cool for the most part. I know people were speculating for him to be in the live action movie, but I think he is a Justice League threat, not just a Superman threat. But as far as the game goes, it looks good. I watched the gameplay because I remembered it dropped. I watched it. I like Wonder Woman. She looks great. When she holds him with that lasso, and then it looks like Lex Luthor's a pivotal point. Like, everyone looks like they are from the games. Like, even when they showed the clip not so long ago with Batman,
yeah,
and then they show Penguin, he's still that stubby dude from the Arkhamverse.
Yeah.
So like there is big connections to the game, and the character designs look very well. And as for Boomerang using guns, people are so picky, dude. I don't understand. like think about it from a gaming standpoint. How much fun can you really have throwing a boomerang that isn't really killing enemies? You're gonna throw it 4 times, catch it 4 times, and then the bad guy's still not dead. Like, come on, like you need a gun to get you to where you need to be in terms of fighting, like with Deadshot, or even Killer Croc, where you want him to use his teeth and claws to fight. No, he's gonna have a gun too. You expect Harley to have guns, you expect Deadshot to have guns. My big thing was that people were so scared about the battle pass picture that they showed or whatever.
Oh yeah,
or
for
leaked.
cosmetics.
It leaked. And like Rocksteady, this is probably the first game in the Arkhamverse, or quote unquote Arkhamverse, where like they have a battle pass for that. And it's just for skins.
Mm-hmm.
You're not paying to play for anything. You're not doing all this and that. I know for Arkham Knight, you had to actually pay for that sort of stuff. The only one that came free was the gold one that you get after completing 250% of it. So like, it's a nice change of pace. I want to be able to dress up Harley and Boomerang and Deadshot. Like, that sounds dope. Like, imagine if they rock like their 2016 version skins, or
that would be fun.
or from the Suicide Squad or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that sounds cool. People are sweating it for no big reason. Like, if it really bothers you that much, don't invest in the battle pass. That's it. Like, you could just avoid that entirely
and just use the skins you get.
Yeah, you want your character to be boring. That's up to you. Like I know Avengers. I know it leaves a bad taste because the Avengers game did it and they were charging out the ass for that. But like, it's Rocksteady. You can expect Rocksteady to deliver on an Arkham game.
You would hope.
Yeah. Like, so like, I think people are worried about things that they shouldn't be, and that's always gonna be the thing. People are gonna find things to complain about.
All right. Well, tell me this: if I'm worrying about the right thing on this one, because there's one thing that stands out from this game that makes me kind of worrisome. Now, I know Rocksteady puts out quality. I mean, come on, Arkham Knight still holds up to this day. Arkham City, one of the best Batman games ever to be put out there into media, in my opinion. But seeing that I thought this whole time that it was going to be like a single player, or maybe like, connect one or two characters, like be able to do multiplayer, but like maybe on the side. I thought it was going to be mostly like a main story mission, kind of like how Guardians of the Galaxy was, Arkham Knight was, Arkham Origins, all them. Now I hear that it's going to be a multiplayer experience, kind of like how Gotham Knights was, right? Where you can do the story together as 4 people. Some of the gameplay kind of reminded me a little bit of Gotham Knights. I haven't played Gotham Knights, mainly because that reason, that it doesn't look as good as the Arkham Knight games, or any Arkham game that's been put out. Even the first Arkham game looks solid and remastered now, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, so it looks good. I'm kind of worried about that aspect, the multiplayer aspect. I do like that they did announce that they were going to keep up with the game and put DLC and skins and more missions as time goes on. They're not going to give up on the game so easily. But I don't know. Did you get that feel with the gameplay that was being shown?
Not really, because I mean, I thought it looked good. It looks like it has that element, where you can play by yourself, but then also that if you did want to play with a friend, you could be like, okay, well, I'm gonna be Harley, Deadshot, Killer Shark, or King Shark, and Boomerang. But I don't think it requires 4 people. I think it looks solid on its own, and I hope when you do play single player, it's kind of like Ultimate Alliance, where you can choose between the 4.
Yeah.
Instead of sticking with one, because then
I think they said that was possible.
Yeah. So then I'm gonna have to like run through the whole game 4 times just to play as certain people. Like, I hope that's not true. But worrying about it makes sense, because Gotham Knights is a offender. So like, and that was the most recent game for PS5. That was like one of the ones that they were marketing to be the earliest release for a PS5 game. Yeah. Besides Ragnarok, of course. But yeah, I guess it's reasonable to be scared about it, because Rocksteady, this feels like the first time Rocksteady has dipped their toes into that. And, who's to say that somewhere down the line after that they're like, I don't think it worked. Let's course correct and update it, because they can do that now.
Yeah.
So like you can be skeptical for the most part, but like I think it's gonna end up coming out solid.
You think so?
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. Well, hopefully it does kill the Justice League. It's gonna be coming out pretty soon, May 26th. PlayStation 4, 5, PC, Xbox One, Series X. Very good. I didn't even know it was coming out on PlayStation 4. That's actually pretty good because I think Gotham Knight said no PS4 release at all, just PS5. So I mean, could be good. We'll see. We'll see when the game comes out. I'll be playing it. I will be playing it. Moving to a little bit of Marvel stuff. Tessa Thompson is very confident that she could take on Kang as Valkyrie. Said in an interview. It's not really a big thing. I'm pretty sure she's not a big comic reader. I'm sure she doesn't really worry about that. I guess it was during a Creed interview, by the way. She's not really, she's not really a big character to even, worry about fighting Kang. I'm pretty sure. It's just, to me, and this could be like my nerdy side coming out. When you don't look into it too much and you just think, oh, I'm a badass in the movie and I can, be a badass or whatever. Like, I feel like John Berthal is a good example. Like, he knows his do's and his don'ts when it comes to the comics. You know what I mean? And when you're seeing somebody play a character and they kind of talk out the woodwork like this, it's kind of like, well, I hope, and this is gonna be a kind of like a thing later on, down the line, and one of the things that Elizabeth Olsen says, but like, this makes me worried because what if they have sway in where the character goes, and that's why we get some dumb content from Marvel sometimes where like, she thinks she could fight Kang, so they're gonna have her fight Kang and actually win a round or something, and then maybe Kang will drag her later. But like, even entertaining the idea kind of, makes people kind of be like, that's not true. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess it would make sense. I don't know if her character has that much sway in it, but like, cause yeah, Valkyrie doesn't seem like a big character to me to want to do that. But like, if it was Thor saying it, or Scarlet Witch, people will campaign for her. But like, yeah, it doesn't make much sense. And it's like, at that point, you're not reading the comics because everyone will get jumped on a car. What's that one character's name from Eternals? The fast one.
Oh, I don't remember.
I can't remember, but the actress came out saying that she was faster than the Flash, and everyone paused and was like, she is tripping. Like, yeah, she had good scenes.
Mm-hmm.
That makes her probably think she's faster than the Flash, but she's not anywhere near that, And so at that point, it's like, are you reading the comics or are you just going off your performance? Because if anything, Love and Thunder is not anything to go off of, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I'm just for conversation's sake and just to put it, Kang will drag her, right?
For sure.
Okay, because you're the comic book person, so I know. I just don't want to sound like a dummy. Kang will drag her, right?
Kang mops the floor with the Avengers almost all the time. So she's like a bug. You just can flick her and it's over. But like, I don't want to see that encounter. If I'm being for real, like, I hope this doesn't come up anywhere near the future. Like, I don't want to see that. Kang is a menace. He was giving Ant-Man the business, so I'm sure eventually we'll see him full force and fight the Avengers and whatnot.
Yeah, can't wait to see that. We'll get to that. Hopefully one day. Hopefully we will see. Hopefully we will see Kang take her on and maybe put this little debate to imagine she comes out saying all this stuff and like in one of the movies Kang is just like hulking her, just
dude, he just like shoots her with like a lightning bolt or something, bro. It would make sense. Like, I'm not trying to take away from her because I guess her best feat is like going up against death or whatever her name was in Ragnarok.
Mhm.
So I mean, she probably is impressive, but she's the last of the Valkyries for probably because she got lucky, not for any skill or any reason, you know.
Yeah, and I know Jeff Loveness is kind of been making his rounds to, like, promote Quantumania and Kang and stuff. And one of his interviews, he wound up saying that his body count's basically gonna skyrocket as he's in the MCU more and more. And I'm just thinking, man, how funny would it be if she's one of them?
That would be fun.
Oh man, let's screenshot this quote from her just so we can just keep it in our back pocket for when that happens. But yeah, moving on, we got our first poster for the CW show Superman and Lois for season 3. Kind of our first look at the new brother that's going to be replacing the old brother.
Jonathan Kent.
Yeah.
Jonathan Kent. It's Jonathan and Jordan Kent. Those are the kids' names.
Yeah, so we're going to see them pretty soon, coming out March 14th, almost here.
Oh, damn.
I know you watched the show. You're you're kind of excited for it, so
A lot closer than I was imagining.
yeah,
a lot of good things are coming in March, bro.
Yeah, March is going to be stacked. Mandalorian's coming out in March. All those movies, John Wick, Shazam, or if you guys are excited for Shazam, Scream, all them.
Scream, yeah.
And so, I mean, even on TV too, we got a few shows coming out on TV in March, so it's gonna be a nice time for, if you're a Star Wars fan, a superhero fan, any kind of that kind of medium consumption.
For sure.
But yeah,
Good stuff.
Your first little look.
This looks pretty cool. Floating heads and all.
Yeah.
Looks like almost like a movie poster.
I low-key like this chest piece right here. It looks pretty good. Yeah. And then it's fun. I just thought it was weird, or it's not really weird, but I think it's funny that they put the new brother all the way in the back, not really like showcasing him too much in this poster. Very, very tiny head for him. Moving on to actual Star Wars. So Diego Luna basically explained why season 2 will basically cover all 4 years of Cassian's life. The director and the creator, Tony Gilroy, kind of explained it too. He said in a quote, "We didn't want this to end up being an animated series. I am who I am." Oh wait, Diego Luna said this. "I am who I am, and Tony Gilroy has to be the writer of this. We cannot be doing 10 years. Basically, the first season took 4 years. The second will take less, but he has to write 12 episodes. Then we have to go into pre-production. That normally takes 6 to 8 months and build these places, and to start the whole process of designing, casting, then the execution is another 7-8 months, and then post-production starts, and that's not easy either. So it's a long journey. Each season takes 2 to 4 years of my life and Tony Gilroy's life." So what he's basically saying is that though they in the beginning they said 5 years, right? They are not 5 years, 5 seasons of Andor can tell leading up to what happens in the events of Rogue One. In reality, we don't have a time machine. We can't make Diego Luna look any younger. I know back in 2020 there was rumors saying that Andor, because Andor came out when 2022, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I know back in 2020 when COVID hit, they were saying that Andor could. There was rumors saying that Andor could potentially just be an animated series. I guess Tony Gilroy kind of turned that down and said, "No, we want to tell this live action. We want to connect it as close to the story as we can." He did say 5 seasons at first, but then it dropped down to 3 seasons. And then I'm assuming age and what happened with the first season of people kind of snuffing it for whatever reason. It was one of the better Star Wars shows. It got dropped down to 2 seasons. So this is going to be its final season, and it's going to span in 4 years. And I'm assuming that it's going to have that 3-episode arc for every episode, kind of like what they did in the first season.
Yeah, pretty sure. That's kind of weird, because then that sounds like a lot for the timeline, because think about it. Everything happens in the first few episodes, and then he's hiding away, and then another good chunk, and then Like, I thought that spanned in a couple of months. I thought that was like, you know, but I guess if he's set in the timeline, then it happens. The Empire struggles with that. He hides away. The Empire is trying to find him for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and then he gets thrown in jail. Another few months goes by since he's there. His mom dies. He comes back to the planet, and then I guess if you really think about it, it could span 4 years, but they make it sound like in universe that it happens in the span of a few months.
Yeah. No, I think they kind of pat it. Oh yeah, kind of, huh? Because when he escaped that planet and then he was on that beach in that one episode, I was thinking it was like right after, and he wound up getting caught like right after, like
what I thought.
Bad luck kind of thing. But I think Tony Gilroy came out and said no, like that was a few months after or whatever. So, I mean, they're kind of doing it. They're kind of spacing it out without telling you that it's spacing out. I mean, and in a way, that isn't that like good storytelling? There might have been years that came in between, but it feels like it was just not too long that it happens, so it kind of keeps you interested more. Now that you think about it with some context, you're like, oh, you know, it could have been a few months span, and you still think like it still makes sense, right? So can't say it's bad. Sucks that we won't get 5 seasons of this because the show is super fucking good, and I don't understand why nobody watched it. Okay, like it doesn't make any sense. We asked for better Star Wars, we get better Star Wars, and nobody watches the fucking thing. You know what? I just don't understand Star Wars fans, and I don't understand what fans want.
Honestly, yeah. It doesn't make much sense because this show does a lot, and people just looked away. Maybe because they didn't have cameos or lightsaber battles or whatever else. The things that people think make Star Wars, quote unquote, but like, people were just sleeping on this show too heavy. It was so good, bro.
It's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous.
For sure.
It doesn't make any sense. It does not make any sense. I can't not. But I guess one thing that's good and thriving and is making perfect sense is The Mandalorian. Jon Favreau himself says that no end in sight. They haven't even written an ending. They don't think they need one as of right now. Jon Favreau basically says, I think the beauty of this is that it's a middle chapter of a much larger story. And though we'll have resolution over time with these characters, I think that how these characters fit into the larger scope and scale, but it's not like there's a finale that we're building to that and have in mind. Quite the contrary. I love for these stories to go on. Damn, I'm tripping. To go on and on. And these characters potentially could be with us for a while, and I really love telling stories in their voice. And I love the way the adventures unfold, and I'm looking forward to doing much more with Favreau. I mean, much more. Favreau said. So, no end in sight. He basically says this is a larger story, as in the Skywalker saga, and he's just basically a little footnote in that story. He's not even the big blimp. He's kind of like, he's able to tread along the lines and not really have to worry about bigger repercussions unless he goes that far. You know what I mean? See, and I thought the whole meeting Luke Skywalker thing would have meant bigger repercussions, but they kind of just brought him in, and which, though it was cool, I really liked it. He was kind of like a mythical creature at the time because nobody really thought, you know, he was out there. And then, you know, he actually met him again in the Book of Boba Fett, and they just basically did away with him. So, I mean, that can kind of just him skirting that could be him skirting that fine line so they can meet characters, legacy characters, obviously, but also not leave a big footprint to the point where it's like, damn, why didn't they explain that in one of those movies? You know what I mean? So it's interesting, the kind of game they're playing with this show.
Yeah, no end in sight for sure, because he does have season 4 written already. You can tell they are setting up for the bigger universe, but all their missions sort of just, you know, end the same. Like, they end up fine in the end, so you can't be too mad at that. What I do hope is that somewhere down the line they get rid of that, if I'm being for real. Like, we know Grogu has to stay and Din has to stay. But like, there has to be bigger repercussions than I'm gonna give him the baby and then I'm gonna take the baby back. Like I like seeing it in the Book of Boba Fett for the time being because it gave us conclusion about Luke and how he ended up the way he did in the sequels and stuff. But like there has to be just bigger repercussions for them going forward rather than here's the bump in the road, getting my baby back, whatever.
Yeah, and I'm one of those people that believe they did it way too soon. I thought Grogu was gonna be there well into season 3, at least until half of season 3.
Yeah.
Let Din just do his own thing for a little bit, and no, they just gave him back immediately, and in somebody else's show, by the way. So if you guys haven't seen the Book of Boba Fett, there's 2 episodes that are very crucial to season 3. Oh, actually, 3 episodes that are very crucial to season 3 because you got to watch the 2 with Luke Skywalker, then you got to watch the finale. So it's very interesting that there's no end in sight. It's good that there's no end in sight. I for one am a fan of Mandalorian. I do wish that they kind of leave us with a couple cliffhangers at the end of a couple. And I know the first season it was kind of like starting the ship, ending the ship kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then the second season it kind of played to that, and then we had that little cliffhanger with Grogu leaving, but then they remedied that all too quickly for some reason. And I don't know. I just think that they don't believe Star Wars fans can hang for a week until the next episode. What the hell? Like and that's your guys' fault for complaining too damn much. I miss Star Wars so much. But yeah, another thing that is coming to a theater near us is an Arachnophobia remake.
What the hell?
By Christopher Landon. He's making that new movie with David Harbour called The Ghost one. Remember that trailer we watched?
Oh yeah.
Where he's like a ghost. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I forgot the name of it.
Netflix?
Yeah, for Netflix. The next one he's making is Arachnophobia. He's also known for Happy Death Day 1 and 2, and the new movie with Matthew Vaughn, Freaky, that one.
Yeah.
So he basically says to Discussing Film about Arachnophobia, he's saying that I'm hoping it should be my next film. We're getting super close. The script's done. I've been working on that for a while now. So now it's just really about getting it together. I met a spider wrangler the other day, so that's a good sign.
Spider wrangler?
Yeah, so if you haven't seen Arachnophobia, it's an older movie. Basically, the whole house gets filled with spiders and everybody's freaking out. It's a very traumatizing movie if you see it. I've only seen it once, so I can't go into detail. I got to kind of rewatch it again. I never thought we'd see a remake to this movie, but I mean, it should be pretty interesting. It's going to come from Atomic Monsters, James Wan's and Blumhouse's partnership studio. Atomic Monster. You remember we talked about that? Yeah. But yeah, I mean, are you excited for a spider movie that can give you the chills forever? Coming from a studio from Blumhouse and James Wan, that sounds scary.
Yeah, it'll be something for sure. But this don't sit right with me. Like, I'm interested in spiders to a certain extent. Like, I've read books on them. Like I know the basics, but like a whole movie about that, Jesus. I don't know.
You scared of spiders?
No. Not really, because I know most of them are harmless unless you decide to fuck with them. But, like, see, that's, like, basic knowledge. Yeah. I've read that in books. Like,
Isn't that with everything, though? Sharks are cool until you fuck with them.
Well, no,
lions are cool until you fuck with them.
No, because for sharks, what do you call it? Most of the time, humans get mistaken for food. So, like...
I think that's a myth.
No. There's pictures where, like... people chilling on a surfboard, like on their belly, looks like a sea turtle. So, like, that's what causes shark attacks. And then people say that it's fairly easy to avoid a shark attack. But
well, wouldn't that be considering you fucking with them? I mean, you're in their turf. You're on a seaboard that clearly mistakes you for a sea turtle. I don't know. You put turtle wax on surfboards, I would say.
I don't think that declares as fucking with them. I think you're minding your business, and then the shark thinks food, and And then
Hungry.
that's when the problem comes in. It's the shark just trying to survive. Yeah, you're in their thing, but you're not really fucking with them. Fucking with them is like going in the cage and then like, oh, you can't get me. Like, you know,
You can't get me.
Like,
Jesus.
and then lions, you just gotta stay away from a lion, bro. That's it. They'll see
You don't
and
fuck with the king of the jungle.
Yeah, they'll cheat your ass up. But like, for the most part, spiders like you could pick one up, and like as long as you're not doing anything dumb, you're like it won't bite you. Like I've seen those videos, and then I've seen the one with the coyote person. What's his name? And then
Oh yeah, that guy.
like he picked up a black widow, and like it started weaving in his hand a web, but it wasn't biting him because he wasn't like
Provoking.
panicking or anything like that. So like cool stuff coming from the movie, but I know it doesn't sound like my kind of movie. Like the one that scared me was Eight-Legged Freaks, or like they get mutated into big fucking spiders.
Yeah, I like that movie.
Like that one scares me the most because that's
a good one.
That shit sounds
Real?
not real, but like that's just dialing up spiders to 100, like human-sized spiders. You know how big spiders get, like, and then you're dialing that shit up because they lied into the toxic vat. So like it's two different things. But this one sounds pretty good. I'd be down to watch it.
Yeah, sounds good. Especially coming from this director too. I'm really excited for that Ghost one. It actually looks funny with David Arbor. Like I said, I can't remember it, but Happy Death Day is a good movie. Freaky is a good movie. So I mean, I have no doubt that he's not a talented person who could pull this off. So hoping for that. One thing that we haven't seen in a long time is another Dr. Seuss's Grinch, right? We had the one story that, was beloved by everybody. And I know you're probably not going to be interested because you're one of those Gen Z kids that don't care about books. But
What?
we're getting a new Christmas story from the Grinch called How the Grinch Lost Christmas. Not written by Dr. Seuss at all. It's just going to be a new book that they're going to be printing out. Now, will it carry the magic as a Dr. Seuss book? Probably. I mean, people might say, hey, rhyming is rhyming, but I don't know. Dr. Seuss is a legend, bro. I felt like it'd be disrespectful not to talk about this.
Yeah, no. This doesn't sound as good as they might think it would, especially if they're using his likeness to promote such a thing. I don't know, man. I don't know. It doesn't sound too good. How the Grinch Lost Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
They can't just leave homie be.
It says it's set a year after the original story, and it's just going to expand on the Dr. Seuss universe. What the hell are they trying to make? A cinematic universe in the Dr. Seuss world and books?
I need Horton Hears a Who in live action today, but
I need Horton Hears a Who versus the Grinch tomorrow. I need to see an elephant fighting the Grinch.
Yeah, no. This doesn't sound good. And I thought this is the problem with things like this. Like the story doesn't add up, and you want to try and milk the cow, but the cow has no udders anymore. But like,
Jesus, where'd the udders go?
Like it doesn't work. Trying to just create new things, bro. Create new things. Don't use existing things to create new things. When the original thing wrapped up fine. Why would we care that he lost Christmas? What is his deal? Are you telling me he's in the Christmas spirit now? He's going to get shit stolen from him? How do you rob the thief? Like, what the fuck, bro?
My guy's going to get robbed. So one of the Whoville people are going to be like, you're about to see how it fucking feels, guy.
Like, it doesn't make much sense because he's supposed to be this heartwarming dude now and live in Whoville and whatever else. But, like, how do you follow that up? You couldn't just let homie be thriving. Like, use our imagination to say, hey, he gave that shit up and now he lives with them, amongst them and stuff. Not on the hill.
We don't need to be told. We don't need to be told.
Yeah, like, you don't have to explain that shit to us. We understand for the most part. Like, yeah, his heart grew too big or whatever. He lives happy. Why do we need him and how he lost Christmas? Are you like I said, this sounds like someone stealing from him.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just weird. I I don't even know what's gonna happen in this one. I just wanted to shine a light saying like fucking cash grabs just doesn't happen in movies. Like it happens in all forms of media. And this, it being a book, and a book that, you know, that is shared wide throughout, you know, all kinds of schools. You know, you grow up knowing the story, and it's so, there's been so many adaptations to this story, you know what I mean, that can add on to the story without actually touching the original author's creation. You know what I mean?
You said it's a book?
Yeah.
You know what? You know how things work with the Dr. Seuss or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
How he said he doesn't want live action things anymore pretty much after the Cat in the Hat movie?
Who said that?
Isn't that what they said? Isn't that one of the rights that they covered? Like after the Cat in the Hat movie came out, they were just like, the rights are that you can't use the movies in live action anymore. That's why we've only gotten animated stuff.
Oh, probably, maybe.
So
I never heard about that.
I'm not sure of the details. We'll have to Google it later. But like maybe that's why they're trying to use this to be original, and then watch, they're gonna try and make it into like a movie, because that's a loophole. It's an original story from these people, so they're trying to use that to gear up and use that loophole for a movie eventually. Maybe I'm tripping, but I thought I read somewhere that was the rule. Pretty much after the Cat in the Hat movie with Mike Myers.
No, I don't see anything. The first thing that popped up is these Dr. Seuss books won't be published anymore for racist images.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah, I heard about that one too.
Long time ago.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but if that's the case, that sucks, because The Cat in the Hat was actually a funny movie. But I can see where it could paint a bad image for Dr. Seuss and the books, because none of that happens in the books. And I don't think he ever says dirty hoe in the books. But yeah,
Dirty
so
hoe.
another book from Dr. Seuss to enjoy with your children if you have children, or if you're a child yourself and you like those books, go ahead and read them again. It's fine. Not a problem. We don't judge around here. But we're going to move on to the heartbreaking stuff. Your heartbreaking stuff. DC and Warner Brothers. Watch out. So there's a rumor going around from Jeff Snyder himself. He is a very reliable scooper and source, apparently, all over the internet. Basically saying that the industry claims that Jason Momoa is leaving Aquaman because Aquaman 2 sucks, and he knows that Amber Heard is still in the movie, and it's a terrible movie. So basically that this movie is so bad, hearing that people are walking out from it, hearing that, you know, the test screenings have not been going so good since the reshoots, that he wants to leave it behind and move on to Lobo. And he confirms that he will be going to Lobo.
I called this.
Yeah, I think you called it on the last episode.
Last time we talked about this a few pods ago. Go check it out if you want.
But to verify.
Like I said, this is like the reason it's probably flopping and not getting the reception it is, because Moana or Mamoa is checked out and he's ready to gear up for something else, which is Lobo.
Yeah. So Jeff Snyder basically said, I hear it's terrible, and that's why Momoa is going to be Lobo going forward. But they can't say that yet, because then it would be a lame duck, and DC is hoping to wring another $1 billion out the box office. First one was awful too, so not a huge surprise.
The first one was not awful.
And see, okay, so can we take it as a grain of salt saying that, okay, he says it's awful, and he didn't like the first one?
Okay, yeah, if he's clearly biased, then yes, obviously. But, like, I don't know. My thoughts were the same. Like, it's not working out. That's why he's Lobo.
I would think so, too. I mean, if it is as bad as people say it is, and people are actually walking out of the theater from a free screening to a new movie, that has to say a lot.
Yeah.
That has to say
not very good stuff coming from them. As usual. That shit sounds crazy, bro. Ain't no way.
Yeah. But you know what's thriving and very good for everybody? The Flash. And they're going to show the film in its entirety this CinemaCon this year before the release of The Flash when it comes out in, what is it?
Oh, I'm mad as hell.
December? Or no. When does The Flash come out? July?
Somewhere around
June?
there.
Something?
June, July.
Yeah. I think it was April. I'm not going to lie. So they're going to show it prior. CinemaCon, I believe it's supposed to come in April. Right? Yeah, in April. So that means that the movie is supposed to come out. When is it? Oh, June 16th. So almost a whole month prior. April 24th. The Flash comes out in theaters June 16th. Almost a whole month prior. The last time they did this was when Top Gun Maverick was coming out, and they had such high hopes for the movie that everybody was going to come back and watch it again. They screened it in its entirety at CinemaCon. The Flash, they believe they got a hit. Apparently a Maverick type hit, because they are literally going to show the film in its entirety right there at CinemaCon. Interesting stuff. I mean, you might be writing the movie's meat for good reason.
That is very interesting. I don't know. I don't agree with this whole picking and choosing an audience and showing them the movie first. Granted, if you're going to these events, you should get something grand, but showing full movies like that where someone can easily post spoilers and shit like that, I don't agree with. Like that shit is low of the low, down dirty type shit, because not everyone can afford to go to these cons. And then what if they're really excited for this movie and then they come across a clip of it or whatever on Twitter? You can block it, sure, but the brain is curious regardless, so you're gonna want to see what the fuck it is.
Oh, that comes to self-restraint. I was gonna say there is trolls out there that like post it and don't even tell you, and you just kind of scroll and you see it, kind of thing, and that kind of fucks people up. But if you don't have some self-control to not look at the thing, then that's on y'all. Like, nobody tells you guys to open that. If it's flagged and they do the right thing and they flag it, cool. At least the person gave you a warning. There is some people that are curious that can't control themselves and will look. That's on them. Now, and I'm one of those people. I can't control myself, but I'm one of those people that can see the leak and won't believe it till I see it in the actual movie. And then when I actually see it in the movie, it gives me a different type of feeling. It's not more like oh, I knew it was coming. It's more like oh my God, I can't believe it. So, but yeah, I know that there's trolls out there that, like, I think the first time I got a movie spoiled for me was, what was it? I'll get back to you if I remember, but I remember I was avoiding spoilers like hella, like crazy. I was off the internet. And then I was like, man, one day I was just like, I want to check just real quick. Just look down the feed. No spoiler indication, no nothing. They just put the fucking video, boom, right there. And I was like, oh, is this like a little fan-made clip? Nope. It was the actual film. And I was like, dude, there's no fucking way in hell. Yeah, so it kind of irritates you.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's not for me. Because, like I said, some people deserve the privilege to see this sort of thing. If it was a clip, okay, yeah, show them a 10-minute clip, whatever. Don't show them the whole movie where people will sneak a phone in or whatever. Like, people think they can take away phones and that's it. But no, there's always people that have, other ways of hiding it.
GoPros. They have GoPros now that they're just, like, kind of hold it right here in their seat, like, on their lap and shit, and just kind of record it.
Exactly.
It's crazy. There's cameras and glasses now. Mm-hmm. Isn't that crazy? Cameras and hats. It's like the movies now, man. It's like the movies. So, whole thing in its entirety. If we hear good things coming out of that place, then you might be right with everything. So
that would be nice.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that. Can't wait. Flash in its entirety. If you guys are going to CinemaCon, lucky bastards. Moving on. A rumor from Casey Walsh says that the Joker 2 is reportedly recording multiple endings for this movie. What's the movie called? Folie à Deux.
Folie à Deux.
A Folie à Deux. I don't know.
Joker 2, Folie à Deux.
Folie à what?
Folie à Deux.
Folie à Deux.
Yes, like that. Which translates to like joke or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Does that mean the movie will have different endings, or do
They're gonna pick a definitive one. They're gonna film different ones, and then they'll watch them, and then whatever one, maybe they'll put them in different test screenings to kind of see which ones the audience feel better about,
yeah,
and then pick from there. This isn't the first movie I've heard has done this before, so it's not a big surprise. There's tons of movies that they just want to do the safe bet, and while everybody's there and while they're shooting, go ahead and film different scenes, put them in test screenings, see how it winds up. My thing is just, is that the director undecisive on where he wants to end it, or is that the studio interference right there, where like it's gonna be up to the studio what they approve is gonna be what's better for the movie? You know what I mean? Because I'm one of those people that I feel like movies come out better, not 100% of the time, but a lot. Even the bad ones, you can tell there's passion put into it because it was the full scope of what the director wanted to tell. You know, the story they wanted to tell. So they do stuff like this where it's like, well, just record a bunch of them, but we don't even know if that was the original ending, or you know what I mean, if that's what the director wants.
I hope
in this case Todd Phillips.
Yeah, I hope if it I don't think it would be studio interference. I think we would have heard something by now. I think this is him just trying to be indecisive about where it should go, because you know sometimes even directors and stuff will be writing out movies as they go. Granted, that's wrong, but like sometimes they just well, the ending doesn't work here, let's try to change it up or whatever, or you know, let's film it and then we'll see how we feel, and I decide to change it up, we'll change it up. But you know, I do hope that when it does come out and it's on DVD, we see the alternate endings, because that would be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool, just to see what kind of ideas they were spitballing.
Yeah, that's, I mean, not too bad. Doesn't sound too scary. Maybe something to worry about, but not anything major.
Yeah, I mean, if they, you know, there is times where, you know, public opinion is something that needs to be done, because I mean the movie could be solid, but then
you fumble the bag.
Yeah, the ending could not be so good. So I mean, it is what it is. I just see it. I don't want to turn it into a bad thing, but I want to believe that this has to be some kind of studio interference in some shape, form, or way. You know what I mean? Like they're probably like, just to play it safe, do a couple other scenes just in case or whatever.
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
Maybe. Who knows?
What if there's like a gruesome ending, a mild ending, and like a kind of in between ending? That'd be crazy. Like,
well, coming off the first one, I'd imagine that he's trying to play it out like something different. You know what I mean? Like, oh, maybe they escape Arkham, or maybe they take over Arkham. Maybe Harley and him do whatever else. Maybe it's all in their heads. So maybe he's just trying to play it out to see which one does best. But that would be nice.
Yeah, should be interesting. We'll see what happens. Joker 2 is still filming, so and with multiple endings, it's probably going to be quite a few days. Moving on, HBO Max has officially ordered the prequel series Welcome to Derry. Andy Massachusetts is signed on to direct the first 2 episodes. Yeah, it's supposed to be a prequel of basically what it was doing prior to the events that happened in the part 1 and part 2.
Oh yeah, before the Losers Club.
Yeah, so we got Skarsgård coming back. Andy Massachusetts directing the first 2 episodes because he directed the 2 movies.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. I've been wanting a different story. I mean, it's cool that we got what we got from chapter 1 and 2, but they basically added more dialogue and more backstory to an already done story that was done with the original what's his name, Tim Curry. Yeah, back in the 80s or 90s, I think. So it's good to see a different kind of story being told, and maybe hopefully we see him terrorize more people, get a little bit more kills in, you know what I mean? That I love the It series, so to see something like this and finally hear that it's finally gonna be happening, it
Yeah,
sucks that it
for
took so
sure.
long because I think last year we talked about that they were pitching the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they had to wait for the acquisition to go through or
Maybe,
whatever.
yeah.
But now that uh, the things that were dumped were dumped, Zaslav said, "You know what? You could stay. Let's greenlight this thing." And now we're getting one.
Yeah, sounds exciting. I do want to see this for the most part, just to see what Pennywise was doing before he killed what's his name, the boy, the brother. What's his name?
Mm-hmm. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
It's been a minute since it's in the movies.
Yeah, but like, yeah, it would be nice to see
Billy. No, Billy's the guy, the boy, the brother, the older brother.
his just the little brother, the one that gets eaten with the
Yeah.
boat. But like, yeah, exciting stuff. Nothing too big to say about it. You're just gonna have to wait and see what they do. It's a weird that a lot of scary movies are getting prequels. You know what I mean? This one, and then you have the
I think
Friday the 13th one.
I just think it's crazy that horror things are being pumped out like this because a lot of like I said, I think a couple episodes ago that horror stuff was scarce for the longest. Like you probably got a couple horror things maybe around Halloween time,
Yeah.
but they didn't sprinkle it out throughout the year like this. Like we're getting a lot of horror things in a quick amount of time, and I just think it's a breath of fresh air. We're getting a lot of new, different takes on our old characters and some different takes on like with new visions.
Yeah.
That Megan that came out. A new doll in town kind of shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's good that we're getting originals and we're getting stuff like this where they're giving us something prequel or even if they want to do a sequel thing where they the events happened, let's do something different and add to the story.
Yeah.
I just need to see more horror things, and this is, I think it's an exciting time to be a horror fan.
For sure. For sure. For sure. No. Yeah. I guess that makes sense because there wasn't a lot, but now that it seems like Marvel movies aren't the shining stars that they once were, people are just like, let's cash in.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and it's very good, and they will take my cash. Oh well, HBO Max is free. Hey, also coming from HBO, Warner Brothers actually, new Lord of the Rings movie. So they wound up getting the rights. They wound up buying the rights. They're gonna be getting more Lord of the Rings movies. Ordered from Zaslav. What the demand is for Lord of the Rings is up in the air because the Hobbit films did not do so well. Old regime, bad. Peter Jackson's reaction was kind of interesting too. A lot of people are speculating that he may be coming back. Warner Brothers, Peter Jackson said in an interview, Warner Bros. And Embracer have kept us in the loop every step of the way. We look forward to speaking with them further to hear their vision for the franchise moving forward. That comes from Jackson himself. So, as you know, and I know you're not a Lord of the Rings fan, okay, but there's people out there that are, okay, so bear with me a little bit. Peter Jackson did the original first three, Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, Return of the King. He understood Tolkien so much to the point where Tolkien, not Tolkien, but like the fans praised them for the best adaptations.
Okay.
Then The Hobbit rolled around, and they didn't have a story. The Hobbit was supposed to be a one movie thing, but they stretched it out to 3 movies. Peter Jackson was put in a pickle. That's why he hasn't gotten the keys to any kind of Lord of the Rings anything in a while because the Hobbits were just so bad. They were just too bad.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to even think that he's entertaining this idea, knowing what happened with Warner Brothers and the old regime. He probably thinks it's going to be different because Zaslav's there now and, in large and in charge type shit. So, I mean, it's good. Like I said, I know that you're not a Lord of the Rings fan, but do you think at least having the original creator come back is going to be a good sign for these movies, or
yeah, I mean, you would think so. I don't think there's anything wrong that can come about it. But if you say that The Hobbit is bad, hopefully he just take this thing in a new direction, because didn't the show end up doing really good? The Amazon one? Was it an Amazon? I can't
Yeah,
remember.
it was Amazon. Half and half. It got ridiculed for being woke. You got people that said they femalized it. There was a lot of fans that didn't like that there was black elves. There was people said the CGI was terrible. I don't know. I think that one was 50-40 or no 60-40. 60 being not a lot of people liked it, 40 being people liked it. I was one of the people that was kind of neutral. I watched it, couldn't bear like watching it after one episode after another, so I waited for the whole season to come out. When I finally got around to finishing it, it wasn't what I expected. Me personally, I was hoping for better, but it kind of felt kind of hobbity in my opinion, more CGI where it wasn't necessary. They did throw a lot of money into it. That's why I was kind of like, at least they try to take care with what they tried to do. I was hoping the second season might push it in a different direction, but I think second season is still up in the air. So, and it didn't do too well. I know some people loved it. A lot of people really did not. It was a uproar. I don't. You probably are not on that side of Twitter, but there's a lot of pictures that they pull out and be like, "This shit looks bad." So
yeah, no, haven't seen it. Obviously, haven't seen it, but if he's coming back, then all right. Everything should be good. I don't see a problem in this unless he ends up shitting the bed again. But it should be exciting, right?
I mean, I hope so. Hopefully, there's not a lot of interference, and hopefully, he can tell. If they want 3 parts, hopefully he can tell a 3-part story that's coherent. You know what I mean? And give him time, because I know The Hobbit was ridiculed with reshoots. Certain a director being appointed to helm it, but due to time, they were like, you know what, bring the other person that did the original 3 to do this kind of thing in a rush, and he didn't have any time. That's why a lot of things were CGI and CGI sets, and it was just very bad. It was a very bad time. So it's good that he's at least entertaining the idea. We just need to wait to see if he'll even come back. So we'll see about that one. Moving on to Marvel once again. So there's rumors saying that Shang-Chi is going to have multiple variants of Kang introduced into the MCU. Now, we got a big taste, spoiler alert, a big taste for Quantumanium in the post-credit scene with different variations of Kangs. I know Kang was supposed to come out in movies. Is Shang-Chi a good one? And I mean, are they making the connection? Because I know like a lot of his rings were in the Quantumanium. There was a lot of rings in that movie that looked like the 10 rings that were given to Shang-Chi. They're drawing the connection, but I don't know if I want to see Kang in this movie. What kind of capacity would he even have?
Yeah, I don't know. This one sounds puzzling. What would he be doing? Where would he show up? Like, is he going to be the reason the 10 rings were sending out that signal? Like, it's a matter of how they put him in and where they put him in that'll determine this movie and stuff. But I mean, Shang-Chi too sounds dope, so can't fault it too much.
No, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for Shang-Chi too, because I liked the first one. I wasn't somebody that hated the first one. I really liked the fight and the combat. I would love to see him go up against Kang, since we know that he's going to be in Kang Dynasty. I'm sure we're going to see it eventually. Did not know we would see it in Shang-Chi 2 if these reports are true. But, I mean, you saw what kind of hand-to-hand combat he had against Ant-Man. And Ant-Man did not have the hands, bro. He did not have the hands to handle that. But Shang-Chi, get Kang out the suit, bro, and be like, fight like a man. And it's just... Boom, boom.
Yeah, because he was beating his ass with fancy moves too, so I'm sure he knows hand to hand as well. I want to see this, but I don't know if sticking him in a movie where he shouldn't be is a good idea.
Quantumania.
Well, they made him a reason to be there. This one sounds like it doesn't need him to be, unless they decide to also do something grand and not impactful.
Well, this one's coming out in the later part of Phase 5, hitting into Phase 6, and that's when King Dynasty and them is supposed to come out. So I'm pretty sure as time goes on, King is going to be a more prevalent force. So assuming that that's the route that they're going, maybe that's why we're going to be getting this, and that's why we're going to, see him within this movie, because he's going to be more prominent throughout the, if we, as many as, like I said, spoiler again, if there's as many Kangs that we saw in that post-credit scene, there should be a few of them running around knowing that these Avengers are a threat, or these human or these superpowered beings in this universe are a threat to their whole existence,
Maybe.
As they make it out to have seemed.
Yeah, for sure. Who knows? We'll wait and see.
We'll wait and see. I guess we will, because Loveness also teases in what's to come, at least with Kang Dynasty, okay? Saying that he's writing for Namor in Kang Dynasty, so we got confirmation that Namor is going to be coming out in Kang Dynasty with the rest of the folks. Talked a little bit about Kang. Like I said, says that the Kang is going to be racking up a body count as time goes on within the MCU. And this is Jeff Loveness. I mean, if you didn't like his writing in Quantumanium, you're kind of worried because he is writing Kang Dynasty. Any worries, any comments, concerns when it comes to Jeff Loveness going ahead and teasing Namor?
I hope they don't slaughter him. I really like Namor.
Like kill him?
No, like ruin his character.
Oh.
I really like Namor. He was one of my favorite things about Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Like, yeah. So, good luck. If they do Namor like they did that movie, I'm gonna be mad as hell. I'm coming for bro's neck. There's no way. It would piss me off so much.
That's a question that a lot of people were asking too, because we know that Jeff Loveness wrote Quantumanium, and we know that the Rick and Morty writers have not been really fruitful to the writers' room as of recently. There was one attached to Black Panther. There was one attached to She-Hulk. There was one attached to, I believe, Shang-Chi, but that one wound up being a success, I'm assuming, because of the director.
Yeah.
Does it worry you that he's writing Avengers 5, Kang Dynasty?
Yes. With the way Ant-Man and the Wasp came out, yeah. I can't really support that sort of thing. I don't know. We go out the way to see. Hopefully he doesn't just ruin it and all that, but we got wait and see. For sure. Wait and see.
So it does worry you, though.
Well, yes, it does.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Okay. Because it worries me, too, kind of. Seeing the dialogue that happened in Quantumanium, it kind of gives me a little bit of a little worried feeling. Like I said, and you guys will probably hear in a different episode, I'm at a point where I'm not anticipating anything that's coming from Marvel. So hearing this doesn't excite me that Namor is going to be in there. I'm just more like you. I'm hoping they don't butcher him. I'm hoping they don't butcher this series, and I'm hoping that this movie actually comes out and is very good. But like I said, the past work has not really been showing.
If with the way Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania is moving, you would think Kevin would be like, "Hey, you're done." You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make much sense to keep a writer around that kind of is failing, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed that we get a different director. Who knows if it winds up happening? Hopefully it does. If not, might be some problems, might be some issues. A couple rumors that came out the rumor mill, though. We got Vision's daughter maybe appearing in Vision Quest, according to a scooper, Viv, and also that Marvel cannot wait to sign Pedro Pascal after The Last of Us became a mega hit for HBO, and now they just want him in the MCU at all costs.
I don't want him in there.
Oh, whoa, why? He's in Star Wars.
That's where he should stay. Homie, as much as I really enjoy what they do, I can't see him be one and done, wasted type of character. If he's a bad guy, if he's a good guy, I don't know who'd he play, but I just know I couldn't see him as a bad guy.
The MCU is not DC, okay? They're not gonna do him dirty.
They do their characters dirty all the time, though.
Yeah, I know they did a lot of people dirty in Quantumanium. Keep going.
They if they give him a role, he better be a good guy and he better be prominent, because I can tell you not many people are going to wait to see homie one time and then never again for another year or whatever. Like, they're going to expect to see him constantly.
That's true.
Like, with Mandalorian, at least we get that time period, but he's a prominent face. We see him almost everywhere after Mandalorian. We see, like, he's in The Last of Us now. That's coming to an end pretty soon in the next couple of months, in the next couple of weeks. And then we get Mando, so we'll see him again. And then I'm sure we'll see him down the line in movies and stuff. But though MCU's timeline is shortening up and there's not going to be anywhere to stick him properly without people being like, where is he? We want to see him.
And proper build-up, huh?
Yeah, there's no way that we can see him like that. And then the MCU's contracts are ridiculous. So, like, we're either going to see him stuck in a role and, stuck filming for that role because, he's filming for Marvel and you know how they are with their scheduling, but it just means that we'd see less of him in case just for him to join in a Marvel movie that may kill him off if he's a bad guy. So,
yeah, well, that's what I was going to say too. I think because he's one of those actors, like, he pops up in different shit all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he likes that free range. I think he enjoys that. And I think that's why he said yes to The Mandalorian, because he got to be in a helmet and that gives them wiggle room to be like, well, I can't be there on set. I'm recording this, but I can do the voice lines for you, of course. And that's, that's what gives them that time to go do The Last of Us, to even be the villain that he was in Wonder Woman 84, the movie that nobody ever saw. Or if you did saw, hated. It gives them that wiggle room. And so, I mean, him as an MCU character, I wouldn't know. Hopefully they don't give him another child to take care of in a different role. Maybe he needs to get out of that because, he went from Grogu to now with Ellie. And, yeah, no, it's not a very good look in my opinion.
He's just everyone's dad.
Yeah, that's basically what he is. So, what do you think about Viv coming into Vision Quest?
That sounds cool. Exciting, actually.
Who's the mother of Viv? Or is it just a cyborg that's built?
I think it's just a cyborg that's built.
He builds her? Do you remember the comics?
I don't think he builds her, or he probably does. I can't remember too much from her. Like, this all happens because pretty much after the split, and like they're supposed to be quote unquote Wanda's and his kids, but I mean, they say that about Tommy and Billy. So I mean, it's tough to pin the whole universe down, but like, if she shows up and the show is about him going back and trying to discover himself and whatnot, going through like his beginning and stuff, then yeah, I guess it would be nice to have that little familiar connection with him. Because if say he's off and he has his family and stuff, she'd be that anchor for him, I guess, without a Wanda and all that.
Yeah.
It would make sense for the most part.
I would just think that if this rumor is true, it's pushing Vision out. And that, to me, sucks because, like I said, all Phase 4, it seems like they've been phasing out all the older heroes, Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, Black Widow, Florence Pugh, whatever. Like, you see the pattern that's happening, and to hear that Viv might be coming in, is her presence going to take away from Vision, somebody that we barely got, and then when we thought we lost him forever, we actually got him back in WandaVision, and now might be phasing him out now. It's like, why? If he has so much more time to go. That's my thing. Like, I understand, contracts, and eventually these guys are gonna get old and they gotta retire the characters or whatever. While retire when you're at top, but we need you in that universe to go on like at least longer than. I mean, RDJ was there for what? 15 years.
10 years, no?
10? No. Oh,
10 years, including like solo projects and everything else, like being involved in group projects.
So 10, 12 years, something like that.
Something like that.
Roughly. Sounds like a lot of time. It is a lot of time. But that's, could have probably had a few more years in them, in my opinion. At least to properly pass down the mantle with certain characters and not feel it so rushed. Because like if you're planning to phase them out anyways, that's fine. Phase them out, but build characters and don't make it seem like you're just replacing. You know what I mean? And that's what I've been noticing a pattern with, like Kate Bishop being in Hawkeye show, Hawkeye barely being in there, but mostly framed on, Kate Bishop is like, that's not a proper transition. Hawkeye should have had a movie a long time ago. You know what I mean? Or at least a TV series on his own. But now you guys are, shoving this girl in. You could have introduced her, had her as a side character, had Hawkeye in there a little bit and sprinkle her within the MCU later on, and then eventually get that mantle pass. But for you guys to do it all in one series is like, how can you not tell us that you're not replacing our characters?
Well, yeah, MCU is just moving fast, bro. I don't know what to tell you about that. That's all it is. It's just moving quickly.
Too fast.
We gotta set people up. We gotta make sure they're in place before Kang Dynasty.
It's some bullshit, bro. It's some bullshit. Hopefully they slow down, like we've been hearing reports that they're doing. One thing that seems to be still on track and is confirmed by the producer, Bayo de Mayo. He basically tweeted out, because apparently there was reports saying, because Agatha, Echo, Ironheart, they were being pushed back, that X-Men 97 might have been pushed back, but the producer said, trust me, I'd be the first to say something if it changes, as in replying to one of the Twitter users saying that reports that Marvel Studios is working to spread out the release, and 97 is still scheduled for upcoming fall. So, I mean, there's some contradicting reports here and there, but the producer came out and basically said, no, it's coming out in fall. Not a definitive date yet, but it will be here in fall.
Actually, that's exciting stuff, because it is an animated project, so maybe it doesn't take much work between then and now. So they could just be like, well, it's animated. It's not really. It's probably not tied to any of the MCU stuff as of yet. So they could just fast track that, while all the live action stuff takes a minute to get into, rather than a animated project. Yeah,
and I know this animated project was in the works since 2021. So I was assuming it was. Yeah, I was assuming it was going to be kind of put out by the end of 2022, but hearing that it's still coming out this year, I'm a fan of X-Men, of that series back in the 90s. I just, oh man. I seen it's funny because I seen a TikTok where somebody was like, oh, what year were you born? And he goes, 96. And the kid goes, you were born in the 1900s? And I was like, damn, that just reminded me of that right now. I'm mad. But yeah, back in the 90s, the show was out, and it was a good show. It was something I grew up with watching on Saturday morning, so it's very nice to hear that we're going to get a continuation and still be on track. I'm good with that. And it's an animated show, so I would assume it'd be on time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't look like it needs pushing back. It's not like it's going to be caked in CGI or nothing. It's just animation. Granted, animation is tough, but probably not as tough as CGIing a movie and all this and that in live action.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff, though.
Very good stuff. And last but not least, the last little Marvel tidbit that we got. Stephen Yeun will be playing a character within the Thunderbolts. He was in The Walking Dead. He voices Invincible in Invincible. Very exciting stuff. Some people are speculating he'll be Sentry. And some people are speculating that he might be Adamus Chow.
Amadeus
Cho. Yeah.
Oh boy.
I have no opinions on this one. I'm just more of a Sentry is supposed to be that psychotic Homelander guy, right?
Yeah,
Basically. It's funny how we can describe it like that now. And then the other one's another Hulk. And I don't know if we need another Hulk. So I'm assuming that it might be Sentry. But the long, flowy locks that are on my screen right now don't really scream him.
Okay, so yeah, no, I don't think it's gonna be him. I don't think they're gonna put him in a wig or nothing like that. I think whoever they cast for the Sentry, we'll figure it out immediately because it's gonna be some white dude, and he's gonna kind of look like Sentry. So if it's Amadeus Cho, and they decide he's a Hulk, I'd be so mad, dude. I didn't agree with him as the Hulk in the comics. Like, I thought that shit was lazy. Like,
Why?
because he came
He's
out
a bad Hulk or what?
He's annoying, bro. He annoys me. The fact that, like, he perfected what took Bruce Banner years. You know what I mean?
That's what they did in She-Hulk.
Oh, no. Listen. Like, comic-wise.
Okay.
Because, like, with She-Hulk, the live-action show, that was the whole concept about her being angry or whatever. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about in comic-wise, like all the things that made Hulk and Bruce like interesting, like fighting for that whole connection and stuff. He doesn't struggle with that. He fucks with gamma radiation. He becomes the Hulk, and now he's the Hulk. So like
Smart Hulk, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, and then like it doesn't make much sense. I didn't like that they did that. I know if you remember the Ultimate Spider-Man show with Drake Bell, he became the Iron Spider. I didn't like that either. It feels like they just gave that character something to do because they were like, well, he exists, so we need him to do something. It would make sense for the timeline because the doctor chick from Age of Ultron, her last name was Cho, and people were like, oh, maybe it's when she got tapped with the stone, she gave birth to this child who was really smart, which Amadeus Cho is really smart. If he ends up being the Hulk, they're gonna have to solve for that one. But I don't think he's gonna be the Sentry.
You don't think so?
Probably not. If he does, and they change up the look, all right, cool. But I expect them to be somewhat comic accurate with him.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, like I said, Sentry seems like a far-fetched unless they are gonna do a whole race swap, which they could totally do. It's not out of the question. Or what's his name?
Amadeus
Cho.
Cho.
Amadeus Cho. It'd be interesting to see another Hulk. Maybe Banner's gonna be phased out and there's gonna be a male and female Hulk, but them two. Who knows? All I know is that he's a talented voice actor, and I want an Invincible season 2 before we get a confirmation on whatever character he's playing here. Yeah. I know I said that was the last little tidbit for Marvel, but actually this is what I was telling you about earlier about Scarlet Witch. So Elizabeth Olsen said in an interview, because she was basically asked, what does she want from Marvel, from Scarlet Witch within Marvel? And her comment was, well, honestly, if I were to tell you exactly what I would want, I think I would be spoiling something, because Kevin Feige genuinely asks us what we want to do with the character, and then he does it. So I don't know if I can share, but I just want to come back. And that's what I was saying with the whole Valkyrie thing on the top of the episode, that what if these actors have so much sway, and that's why some of these things are going the way that they're going? Could it be all Kevin Feige's fault? Which, in some senses, I guess you could say he's the one who greenlights it. So, I mean, it could be his fault. But is giving these actresses or actors, maybe, who knows? Elizabeth Olsen's a solid Scarlet Witch. I'm not saying that her acting chops are bad. But do I believe that she sits there reading Scarlet Witch comics? More than likely not.
Probably not, no.
So, like, it's just stuff like that where I'm like, are we getting stories from people that read the comics? Or are we getting stories from people that don't read the comics?
Well, we know some people do. Some people come out and say they do. So, like, we know Charlie Cox reads Daredevil. We know John Bernthal.
How if he's blind? Boom.
For real? What kind of MCU humor?
That's what I'm saying.
That's
what you just get ready.
What we call it, like Frank. I mean, John Bernthal reads Punisher comics. We know that. Like, I'm sure some of these people do, and she does not seem like the type. Maybe she gets ideas. Maybe she Googles it, and she's like, "What has Wanda Maximoff done in the comics?" That's probably why the whole kids thing came in fruition. Other than the whole Avengers thing, the Young Avengers, whatever they're called, that team. But I think that I don't think they have leeway in that sense of like, oh, I want to fight Kang or whatever. Like, I think they have leeway in where their character goes, you know? Nothing too grand like that, but in the aspect of their own story and what they get out of it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So if she was like, well, I want to do House of M, and then, well, Kevin's like, well, we don't even own mutants like that. We're going to have to change it up a bit. And then, you know, that's where she gets the leeway with the kids and stuff like that, you know. But who's to say somewhere down the line we don't see House of M, you know, with the mutants and stuff like that
done actually right.
Yeah.
That's why I say, if you don't have the right equipment, don't make the story. You know what I mean? It, like, don't get me wrong, the House of M thing is cool, like kind of how they altered it for this for WandaVision when they did it, because I know that she was talking about it earlier. But if you know you got the X-Men right, you should have just did what you have to do. Now, yes, I understand he doesn't want to shoehorn them in, and maybe there's a way that they're gonna come in naturally, in his opinion. But is he focusing more on this X-Men thing, and that's why things are crumbling right now? I mean, or is it because he's listening to these actors that don't really know the comics, you know? Like, it's just a question like that. When you hear, you know, the actors saying stuff like this, like I said, you could probably tell that she doesn't read the comics like that, you know? And I will even front and be like, oh, I read comics. I read some. I don't read them all. I'm not that big into them like that. But, like, I would like to see more stuff from the actual comics be adapted. It'd be nice.
Yeah, it's weird because getting an idea and like being like, oh yeah, that should be done from the comics is totally different, you know, translated to movies and things like that. You know, that's why they say you'll never get a true adaptation. You only get Easter eggs pointing to that or whatnot, like Spider-Man with his giant like light emblem that they gave him at the end of Civil War or whatever else. Like, yeah, it's a callback, but do we ever see him use it?
No.
Like, why would we ever, you know?
Sure.
And that's why. So, like, maybe she gets ideas and the writers just have to be like, oh, yeah, I read that. I was told to read that. Let's try to incorporate it as much as we can without getting it, you know, completely accurate. And that's why this happens and, you know, to fit the grander MCU stuff. But I think for these actors, they should read comics. Kevin should be like, read up on this, and that. Or they should take it upon themselves to go read something that involves the character.
Well, like, let's make it a job requirement.
Exactly.
I don't know. It should be. We'll see what happens. Hopefully we see Scarlet Witch pop up soon. We knew that she wasn't dead at the end of Multiverse of Madness. So we know something's going to be happening with her pretty soon.
Yeah, I hope she does come back.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's going to come back. I'm pretty sure they'll have like a whole redemption arc before King Dynasty happens or something.
Yeah.
I don't think she'll be an Avenger, but I think she'll be prominent in the movie. One last thing that David Zaslav was so happy to talk about during his investor call. That's why we got all these little updates from Warner Brothers and stuff like that. That he got rid of about $4 billion. I think altogether he lost about $7 billion in debt from a $50 billion debt that Warner Brothers had. Well, they had inherited from Warner Brothers. That Warner Brothers had racked up due to poor decision making and, you know, canceling stuff or whatever. That's why Zaslav was, you know, cutting the fat off a lot of stuff. That's why he canceled Batgirl, you know, tax write-off, get some money back, put some money towards certain things. So Warner Brothers Discovery is making their bread back slowly but surely. He assured everybody that most of the deconstruction is behind them. Like, there's nothing really major that's going to be coming up ahead, but there will be little things here and there. Most of it's in the rear view mirror. $50 million down by 7 million.
God damn.
Got to be good. I mean, 50 billion down by 7 billion. That has to feel good. That has to feel good. That's a lot of money. How they rack up such a ticket? Oh my God! Who knows? Who was in charge of the credit card over there? I need to know.
Yeah, interesting though. It feels like a lot of these things come up, and you're just like, damn. You never really know how much corporations spend on their shit until you look at the numbers, and you're like, God damn, it's all for the fans and stuff. But I mean, they haven't been doing fan work, so where are they getting the money from?
It's not for the fans; it's for their pocket. They please fans, they get more money. That's how it's supposed to go.
Well, yeah, but that's
get
what
it right,
mean.
DC.
That's what I mean. If DC is giving us content and we're not vibing with the content, where are they getting the money from?
They're not. That's where debt comes in. That's why they're deaded, is because they canceled. They back then there were so many people doing greenlighting this, greenlighting that, canceling this, canceling that. That's why there's a big rack up, is because I don't know. I think from what I heard, and I was kind of young and I wasn't like into it as much. But like the whole business of like Warner Brothers and like different companies in Hollywood, but like I read into it just a little bit, and I was hearing from like 08 through like 18 or 19, it was, or no, through 16 to 2016. Now 2016 and on, you kind of know what happened behind the scenes. You still had some people lingering around. You had Walter Hamada, whatever. They didn't really help a lot, but between 08 and 2016, before all that merger, or 2014, whatever. Before AT&T bought it out, apparently executives and stuff were basically just thumbs up their ass, greenlighting shit, doing a bunch of crazy stuff. A lot of shady scandals were happening. Like, it was just a bad place at Warner Brothers at the time. So that happened. They fired one of the CEOs, and that's when AT&T wound up buying into a merger or whatever. Wound up trying to profit from DC. That's why Walter Hamada, and then he hired Zack Snyder to make the movies. You already know about all that. So it was just a big fiasco. So I'm pretty sure it's just like that time, and then the time from 2016, and when DC movies were flopping, stuff like that, whatever. That it just racked up a big bill, and it's not helping now that during the COVID times, they basically released a lot of movies to streaming, and they didn't even make their money back. Warner Brothers was doing a good thing and for fans and stuff like that, but it was costing out of pocket that they weren't really considering at the time, which is crazy.
Yeah, but that's good for WB. Finally a W in all this mess. Good for them.
Yeah, so good for them. They're looking onward and upward. If that rumor is true that they might be selling Warner Brothers to NBC at one point, this is gonna look really good for them. Yeah, we'll keep updated. A couple more topics, Josh. We're almost there. One topic that really was brought up: Ben Stiller defends the controversial Tropic Thunder. In that movie, we all know Robert Downey Jr. plays blackface. A lot of people were kind of upset about it. Till this day, people say, why wasn't he canceled? Well, at the time, it wasn't that big of a deal, I don't think. I don't think people were worried about it. It was just for like comedy and stuff. I know it was controversial a little bit, but now that things have been taken up a notch, it's a lot more. Tropic Thunder has an 82% tomato score, 71% audience score, so must be good. In a tweet that was put up, a user basically, why did I do that? Should I have done that? Oh, it's loading, it's going. Oh, there we go. It says, I noticed on Twitter how liberals have been trying to cancel culture the movie Tropic Thunder. Now people like Ben Stiller are actually apologizing for what? It's a classic movie, funny as fuck. If you haven't seen it, it's a satirical movie, and Robert Downey Jr. plays an Australian method actor who undergoes pigmentation alteration to play a black guy in a movie. When the Wayans brothers made White Chicks, nobody said a dang thing. Stop apologizing for this stuff. A small minority of people get up in arms about simple stuff, and all of a sudden they're trying to make people apologize for it. If you do it, they win. It now gives them more power to keep doing it. Don't even get me started on Tiger Woods BS. Benny S., he's a Twitter user. He said, Ben Stiller, please stop apologizing for doing this movie. It was and still is funny as fuck. Even funnier now with cancel culture the way it is. It's a movie. Y'all just can't get over it. I was dying laughing when I first saw it back in the day, and so was everyone else. And so Ben Stiller replied and said, I make no apologies for Tropic Thunder. Don't know who told you that. It's always been a controversial movie since we opened. Proud of it and the work everyone did on it. He went on and put a post that Ben Stiller put back in 2018 saying, actually, Tropic Thunder was boycotted 10 years ago when it came out, and I apologized then. It was always meant to make fun of actors trying to do anything to win awards. I stand by my apology. The movie Sean White and the great people who work with us. So I guess at one point he did apologize, but it wasn't at the time. I remember when he did this because I remember when this movie came out. He apologized for it, but it was mostly just because of, like, basically saying sorry for your feelings kind of thing. You know what I mean? Trying to be considerate to the people that, you know, people got hurt feelings for. But he's always put out there saying that this movie was always satire, that it was just supposed to be making fun of how actors would do anything for an Oscar, basically. That's basically what the big gimmick was. You go through all these movies, you know, you seen in the beginning of that movie that he was going through what is it, Scorcher 1 through 7, and that was supposed to be like a Star Wars Marvel parody type shit. And you know, it was always funny. It was always a satire type of movie. Don't know why people got offended by it. I understand nowadays it's a lot more sensitivity out there, and you got to be more sensitive to those topics. We get it, but when comedy is just comedy, it at that point it's just you not knowing how to take a joke, in my opinion. And you know, the dude made a point in the post. White chicks came out. Nobody said anything about that. It was hilarious. It was hilarious because it was a black man doing whiteface. No, it shouldn't be like that. It should always be equal all the way around, in my opinion. But this movie was funny. I still laugh at it. I still watch it till this day. Nobody's gonna stop me from watching it.
There's a lot of things in that movie, which is like, you know, it's like Ben says, it's meant to poke fun at these actors.
Jack Black being addicted to cocaine.
Yeah, it's like all these things. It's all very just, you know, like point and laugh. Don't be upset that about other people's feelings. You know, you can't be bothered that it hurt someone else's feelings. You know, like that doesn't make much sense. I think because I've seen it come up on TikTok and all that too. I haven't seen the movie in a minute, but I know that the whole Robert Downey Jr. blackface character, it was poking fun at method actors. You know what I mean? Like the type of actors like, you know, Jared Leto, where he was actually trying to play a paraplegic, and you know, he said he wasn't using his legs or whatever else. So like it's meant to poke fun at people like him, you know, and actors that do these extreme things for these roles. When in reality, it just makes you look kind of goofy. You know, like we can laugh at Jared Leto, we can laugh at, you know, all these other people. It's just to them, they think it makes a good role, you know, and for RDJ's character, he thinks it makes for a good role, so of course he's gonna try and do blackface. And at the end of the movie, he finds out, or they tell him like, "Hey, that shit's wrong," you know. So he learns the lesson, and that's the lesson of of his character, that some roles shouldn't be taken this serious to the point where you gotta try and race swap and stuff. Because I think there's even a line in the movie where he's like, we faced bigotry and this and that, you know, trying to preach to the actual black person about things that he hasn't experienced because he's white. So like that's the whole point of the movie. It's meant to be satire. Yeah. To be upset over such things doesn't make sense.
Nope. But it is what it is. If you guys want to hear a review of Tropic Thunder, we'll be happy to put it out there. Let us know. Sure. Let us know. It'd be funny to rewatch that movie. I haven't seen it in a long time. But last final thing of the day, Josh, we made it. Danny DeVito coming back to play the live action. What was he? A Minotaur, right? What is it called?
No, that's the one with the part cow, part man. I think he's gonna play Phil.
Phil, there you go, Phil.
That's the character's name.
Yeah.
I don't know the goat.
Yeah, I forgot his name. It was Phil, right? Yeah, he's gonna be playing Phil. He's coming back. Apparently, there's a tie for Hercules right now. Rumor going around that it could be Michael B. Jordan or Taron Egerton. One of those two in the lead. So we'll see what happens.
Well,
I lean more towards Taron.
I know Taron Egerton can sing.
Yeah. Oh, that's right, because he did Elton John.
He can sing.
Yeah, dude.
So
maybe him.
Michael B. Jordan would be cool. I know he has the physique for it, but can he sing?
That's true.
That's the thing.
And Taron Egerton can bulk up, like he can get big.
So if it's a tie, I'd say go for the one that doesn't just look the part but can sing. But both seem like they can fit.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting. I'm just happy they're getting Danny DeVito back, bro. Like that. Sure. That's like, oh, that's so good. But hearing the rumors that Taron Egerton might be doing Hercules himself, that's fun. That sounds cool. That sounds like a good time. So can't wait to hear the original Phil voice. Hopefully you don't sound like super old, because I know when what's his name who plays Darth Vader? I forgot his name. Help me out, Josh.
Oh.
He voices him.
Come on. I know who you're talking about. I can't remember his name.
Yeah. The voice of Darth Vader, he came back for Rogue One and he sounded a lot older in his role. You know what I mean? And I know age happens. I just hope that they can do something to help with that, just so it can sound young and youthful, because Phil was supposed to be like in his 50s here, or like 40s or something, 30s maybe. And so to hear an old voice Danny DeVito might be kind of awkward. It's kind of going to be like how Weaver was in Avatar 2, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. That's cool. Exciting stuff. I hope Hercules is tied for my favorite Disney movie. It's tied with Tarzan, so I hope they get it right. Otherwise, I'm going to be mad.
Don't be mad. Hopefully they do get it right.
Yeah.
And if Taron Egerton is going to be Hercules, dude, I'm there. 100% I'm there. I can't wait. Mm-hmm. It's going to be good. Danny DeVito's coming back. Russo brothers are producing this movie, and it's directed by Guy Ritchie. So if you guys know who Guy Ritchie is, he's actually been making a pretty good movies as of recently. With that being said, that's going to be the end. Josh, let them know where they can talk to us if there's anything on this pod that we didn't talk about that we should most definitely have spoken about. And if there's any movies that they want us to review, let them know where they can let us know and where they can support us in a huge way.
Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at FilmBros Podcast. We post when new episodes are up, and you can hit us up there for any news or movies you want us to review. If you want to hear us on the go, Spotify and Apple Podcasts at FilmBros Podcast. If you want to support us in a big way, Zippy Stream at FilmBros Podcast. It takes name and email. You get our full catalog, episode 0 all the way up to 60 something now. And if you want to subscribe to our YouTube at FilmBros Podcast.
Yeah. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, click the bell so you can get notifications. All right. We'll talk to you guys on the next one.
Talk to you guys later.